My name is Rachel, and I am very excited for today's episode. If you have watched some of my videos before, or if I've worked in some of your schools before, either after school or in school, anything like that, it is great to see you again. If not, it's nice to meet you over the internet. So we're going to be making a green power smoothie today. And if you've watched my videos before, you know that I like to make the smoothie. We give it a little taste, and then we will talk about all of the nutritional benefits of those ingredients. So let's get started. So we will be making a green power smoothie today. As I said, here are the ingredients. So 2 cups of chopped spinach, 2 cups of chopped kale, 5 to 6 celery hearts, 1 pear, 2 limes juiced, 1 cup of carrot juice, and 1 cup of ice. So I'll hold that up there for you. Take a look. All right, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start by chopping up my spinach. Now, because we're putting it in a blender, usually sometimes I can just throw it in there and mix it up. I like to chop it up a little bit before I toss it in my blender. It'll just make it a little bit easier to blend. So this baby spinach, you can leave the stems on. That's fine. They're kind of soft and tender enough that they'll blend up pretty well. So I'm just going to give this a little chop. All right, that's good. So we're adding 2 cups of that. So let's measure here. It's about 1 cup. Oops. Let's do another little bit. Measure this out. And again, some of these measurements can be approximations. As I've said before, feel free to tweak this recipe however you want. Get a little more in there. Okay. And I like to usually add 1 ingredient at a time and blend it up. I find that it blends your smoothies a little bit better, keeps things nice and smooth. You don't end up with any ingredients stuck to the sides. But I'm just going to go ahead and mix up both of our greens together here first. So I'm picking the stalks off of the celery right here. This will help to blend it up much better. The stalks you could leave on if you wanted, but it's just going to get stuck in there, and it's going to make it a little more tough, and it might not have the best flavor. So I'm picking off the stalks from my celery, or my kale here. This is also good to do if you're cooking with kale. Pick the stalks off. Kale freezes really well too, but I recommend, again, taking off the stalks beforehand. You can freeze kale for smoothies. I also freeze it sometimes, and then we'll add it to sauces and while I cook. It can keep for a while if you just put it in a Ziploc bag. So, talk a little bit more about the benefits of kale later. All right, so we have our kale all nice and chopped up here. Stalks are off. That's about 1 cup of kale. And 2 cups right here of our kale. Perfect. All right, so we are getting nice and full. I'm going to smush that down. I'm going to add a little splash of water to help blend. Mix it up. Make sure your handle is on nice and tight there. All right. push this down a little bit more. It's very dense. It's a little tricky to mix up right now. That's perfectly normal that happens. A lot of greenery here. Add a little bit more water. So if you can't see, it's mixing pretty well on the bottom, but the top is not blending as well. So if this happens, you can go ahead and add one of your liquid ingredients. I wouldn't add any more of your fruits or vegetables right now until this is sort of blended down. So I'm going to go ahead and add our carrot juice. I'm going to give it a good shake actually here first. Okay. So I'm going to add our 1 cup of carrot juice, and that should help to loosen up our kale and our spinach. Alrighty. There we go. Nice and blended. Okay. All right. So we are ready for the rest of our ingredients. I'm going to clear my cutting board off here a little bit. And next, let's add our pear. So I leave the skin on whenever I'm using a pear. Really great. Skin on fruit is really good for you. Adds much more fiber. I know sometimes people like to peel their fruit, and it's always a good idea to just leave that skin on. So I'm going to cut this pear in half. Cut it again. Cut out those seeds. Chop up, again, I'm going to chop up that pear as best I can while it's on the cutting board. It'll just blend a little bit better that way. Little pieces. Okay, that should be good. All right, so we've got our pear. Plop that in. That's good and blended. Next, I'm going to do our celery hearts. Again, it doesn't matter too much the order that you go to add all of these. It's really just what's going to blend the best. So again, I recommend 1 ingredient at a time. In the case of the kale and the spinach, it was pushed down kind of hard. It was very dense, so I went ahead and added the carrot juice. So use your best judgment depending on how it's going. Now that that's nice and mixed up, I'm going to add the celery. So I think it'll be able to break down nicely in there. So again, I'm chopping up my celery as I go here. I'm going to chop it up as best I can before I put it in the blender. Alright, that's one. I've got quite a bit here. We'll talk a little bit about what makes celery so good for you in a little bit, but I'm just going to chop. Also, this bottom here, if you see at the bottom of your celery hearts, you have this white bit. You can just toss that to the side. It's less flavorful. You could add it if you want, but I'm going to just stick with the green part here at the top. Let me cut that off. We got a little bit in there, and that's okay, but that green part's much more flavorful. All right, so chop that up. Blender. Smells fantastic. Wish you could smell it. Well, if you're making your own, you are. Okay. Get that blended. We're all nice and blended. I'm going to go ahead and add our ice and our lime. One thing I will say is that you really don't want to add your ice too soon or at the bottom. It can make the stop up the blade of the blender as it gets caught on that ice. So once you have kind of a nice base there, then you can go ahead and add your cup of ice. So I'm just going to quickly plop this ice in here. Good old ice cube tray. Sometimes you can get bagged ice, but that's my ice cube tray. All right. Fill that up. Again, it's an approximation. It doesn't have to be exact. Get that out of the way. Okay. Put our ice in there. I'm going to go ahead and add our lime juice. So to do this, I'm going to cut each line into 4s. It'll kind of make the squeezing a little bit easier. You'll be able to squeeze a little bit harder if it's in 4s rather than being halved. I find anyway. Okay. I'm going to just cut up our limes. Okay, we'll just squeeze. You could, some people get the lime juice that's already in the little bottles. I much prefer to just cut open a lime and squeeze it fresh. It's just so much more flavorful, and you can try to get some of the pulp out as well, which is very good for you. All right, so let's squeeze this in there. Nice fresh lime. Okay. Now, see my top here. blended. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more ice cubes because I can see that they blended up pretty quickly. These were a little bit melted when I popped them out. So I'm going to go ahead and just add the rest of the ice cubes that are in my tray. Again, this just goes to use your judgment as you go, and you can always tweak these. Unlike baking, where you have to be a little more precise in your measurements, this you can just go ahead and blend it. We are good to go, and let's give this a taste. Right, so our Power Green, here we go. Very, very good. That is some strong flavor in there. It's great. I would maybe add a little bit more lime next time, or you could squeeze some lime over top. Let's see. I'm going to squeeze a little bit of lime on top here. I feel like a little bit more of that sour taste. Great. Really good. I'm excited for you to make that one and give it a try. So many healthy ingredients in here. This is very, very good for us. Let's take a look at what's so great about these ingredients. Okay. So, we had in here today pears, which pears, they promote gut health, helps fight heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, and helps with weight loss. Pears do that. Carrot juice, which we added. Carrot juice can improve your vision, boosts your immune system, fights cancer, removes toxins from your body. It's great. All right. Kale. I got a little bit of carrot juice on the kale card there, so excuse that. But kale is a leafy plant, and it's high in vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin B6, and vitamin C, and even more. Also, it lowers your cholesterol, which we all know is very important. So, really packed with vitamins, going to give you lots of energy, great for your immune system, wards off colds, any kind of other illnesses that you may have. That is kale. Spinach. Spinach promotes bone health, strengthens your eyesight and your immune system. It repels bacteria and viruses. It's also, spinach and kale are also great sources of calcium. If you are a vegan or you have a hard time digesting cow's milk and you need other sources of calcium, spinach and kale are great plant-based sources of calcium. So it's a wonderful alternative. You don't always think of plants containing calcium, but spinach and kale are great sources of that. And we have our lime. Lime is a great source of vitamin C, as we all know. So also the pulp in a lime is a great source of fiber. Lime is a really not just flavorful food, but it is a great way to increase your vitamin C. So that is all of that. Also, I did not read celery. My goodness, how could I leave out celery? Okay, so celery is high in vitamins A, K, and vitamin C, which, again, packing with those vitamins. It's also high in fiber. It's a great source of hydration that we know we all need in the summertime. Really great way to hydrate, really packed with water, and it can help prevent sun damage as well. Now, doesn't mean that you should go rubbing kale on your face or on your body, but it can really prevent sun damage as you ingest it. So it can be great for health in that regard. So that is it for our Green Power Smoothie episode. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I look forward to knowing that you're going to be making this at home. I wish that I could be there with you and talk to you all about it, but I know that you'll do a great job. So let me sign off here and exit out. Boop, there I am. Okay. All right, guys. Here is to living a healthy life, and I'll see you next time. Bye.